The perfect Doge sales pitch was delivered nearly a decade and a half ago. We think that Doge is new. We think that Elon Musk has been mostly apolitical for the majority of his time in the spotlight. It wasn't until the last year or so ahead of the election that he started getting more and more political. And then, of course, now he's actually leading the Doge team to try to cut waste, to make government more efficient. We think that it's new, but this is not a new idea. This is a concept, believe it or not, that has been proposed, and even there was an attempt to initiate something very similar to Doge way back when. Here's a clip from 2011 that details what I consider to be an extremely powerful Doge sales pitch.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions, and that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. We need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste, and I know Joe's the right man to lead it, because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point on. The American people are entitled to transparency. Look, a lot of this depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority. Focus that can't be delegated. We're holding ourselves accountable, and we're deeply committed and focused on making government function better. We're not just eliminating fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue. We're going to give you the government you expect and deserve.
There you go, folks. You see, we were this close. We were so close to having something similar to Doge, obviously at a much smaller scale, I'm sure. But at least it could have been used to cut a lot of government waste. I mean, the points that Barack Obama was making back then in 2011, they still hold true today. And, of course, now, today, since it's not Obama doing it, the radical left is vehemently opposed to the idea, no, don't cut waste. But just think of it like this. We were this close. And it probably could have actually worked. But Barack Obama made the fatal mistake of putting old Joe Biden in charge. And then, of course, nothing was done. It goes to show you that it's not just what you do, but it's who you put in charge of something that makes all the difference in the world. One of the best ways to stay ahead of the deep state and to understand the machinations of the globalist elite cabal is to get information from people in the know, such as former CIA analyst Jim Rickards. Go to jdrucker.com/crisis, jdrucker.com/crisis, and see what information they have for you today.